Hello and welcome to GRIDwrap. And today we've got Adari Shikami from from Panther 3D Limited, I believe. Is that all right, Adari?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And we've got Mal Burns Writer, who's aggregator extraordinaire on the net. Hi, Mal Burns.
Hi there.
And of course, our regular guest, Tessa Harrington. The reason we've...
Hello.
Oh, sorry, Tessa, I'm talking right over you. So used to you saying hello. I'm sorry, darling. The reason we've got three people today is because we wanted to spread out what we've been talking about. I mean, originally I invited Mal to come on and talk about aggregation of information and dissemination of information, and then I heard that Adari was going on to Spot on 3D Grid, and I wanted to talk about taking textures around the net and how that happens and how you license them and how you copyright them and all the rest of it. And so we had Adari on at the same time because actually it's all part and parcel of the same thing, which is movement around the net. So Adari, to start with you, tell us about Panther 3D Limited.
Panther 3D Limited is a company that my partner Tony and I formed, Tony Filler. We combined Ada textures and TNA sculpts. Ada's been around for about 3 years. I've been an artist at True for 3 years, parallel to my own home business, Ada's. And Tony joined me about a year ago, and we decided that we wanted to have a better foundation in the virtual world, and the way to do that was to make a proper company.
Mm. And you've recently gone into Spot On, I believe.
Yes, we have. We enjoy the platform over there. Tessa has a wonderful concept. I like what she's doing, trying to establish standards for IP protection. Mm-hmm. It's very secure, very professional, very nurturing atmosphere for content creators.
And so, what do you do? How do you operate? I mean, do you have a website where you do your textures and then you upload them into Spot On, or you're selling in SL as well, aren't you, on Second Life?
Yes, actually, I started on the SL end, and we're now branching out into our own website, Panther 3D. I started at True, as I said, about 3 years ago. In
so that's
Second Life.
Textures Are Us, is it?
Yes, Textures Are Us. That's a conglomeration of 50 artists. True is owned by Lily Beth Feltz. She's been, a pioneer in this industry as far as textures are concerned. I opened my home shop, as I said earlier, and basically I got into textures to begin with because I started out as a builder, and there were some things that I couldn't find that I wanted, so I just started making my own stuff, and then I hooked up with Lily Beth, and we went from there, and it's a learning process. It's a constant thing. In addition to learning about how to create textures and what builders needed in this environment, I've also learned about IP. I had no clue when I started. At this point, the only thing I can really say is it's very important to make sure that you make your textures identifiable, that you register your textures. You have to take certain precautions in order to protect your IP. If you don't, sometimes you'll find you don't have a leg to stand on.
So how do you do that? Has that been a steep learning curve for you?
It has, and sometimes painful. Watermarking is a very good way to do that. There are sites where you can register your PSD files. You need to make sure that you document everything. Dot all your I's and cross your T's.
Right.
And it's also important when they put it on the selling sites that they, on their ads and their TOS and any kind of documentation, that they note what the usage rights are as far as other grids. Because legally, if you don't inform that, it leaves that open door. So it's really important that you say, if SL only, just say SL only. If you've got a list of grids that you like to sell through, then list those as well, like N-Worlds or Spot On or Reaction Grid. And make sure that the grids you go to are supportive and reputable.
That's true. Every set of textures we have EULA inside the set. Since we've gone over to Visa, we've also formed a blog with all of our licensing information, so that we make people aware we sell licenses for each individual grid, but we also sell cross-grid licenses, because at this point, with the 3D web expanding, people need to have their textures and their building supplies portable.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good idea, isn't it? Because I mean, how do you feel about it? Are you sort of putting the price up to do with how many licenses people want, or how many worlds they want to take them in, or do they pay, one price pays all, really?
Some artists charge one price. Some artists charge more for extended license. We charge a little more for extended license.
Okay. And how is it delivered to people? I mean, can they just take it with them on, say, the Hippo Viewer or something like that?
Some artists allow that. We like to ask people to let us bring the textures to them, so that we keep our names on everything as creator, as that's part of our copyright information. Some folks will allow you to just simply take their textures with them and upload them into whatever world you're in. So it more or less depends on the artist and how they choose to do things with their copyright.
Okay. Mal, let's come to you for a minute. Now, you aggregate not only news on the net, but actually virtually everything now, I think, don't you? Is there anything you don't aggregate?
That is actually an awful lot. But it all started with a Twitter feed, actually, which used to be a social sort of platform, but really became a broadcasting platform for me to sort of Twitter links on. And yeah, I mean, some people have called me the human newsreader. In other words, I just I specialise, as you know, in the metaverse, basically. So, in fact, I aggregate very little these days outside of metaverse interests. I do a bit of ecology and technology stuff on a sort of similar thing to Twitter, but. Yeah, I mean, it's a selective thing. For me, it is something I think I've actually always done, and that is, I go with my own choice and I organise things my own way, but I share it all, and if people like the way I'm doing it, then they sort of follow me. And I think, I pick up on things that are important to people, and I just skim over things that aren't. And it's news links, it's events and videos too, of course. I call myself broadcaster, but a lot of the time I'm just aggregating publicly available video content that's there too. And I just love putting all these things together in one place so that people can find them easy. I mean, that really is the motivation is that I can find them easy, to be honest. But by then extending that to the public sphere, then hopefully other people find it just as I do.
Yeah, so is it then that you collect what you like to read and then push it out to anybody who wishes to have it sent to them?
In a very general sense, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're covering an area of interest, I've got an obligation almost to paste links to things that I don't particularly want to read. A lot of people think, oh, they must read masses, and I do, but I don't read nearly as much as people think, because my job is scanning, really. It's a self-appointed job, as it were. I mean, if I actually read everything, I'd be far more limited in what I could cover and sort of specialise in. So it's a scanning job in many ways.
So, right, so can you make a living at it, Mel?
I very much doubt it. Well, I mean, it's possible. I'm retired, for health reasons, so I can't stop doing things like this, and it's very cutting edge. So there are things in what I do that I think might be monetizable in the future. But I mean, my specialty is metaverse, as you know, and VC and all of us really are in this. At the cutting edge, we're pioneers, really. So, in the back of my mind, I'm obviously thinking, well, when this thing is bigger and greater and there's masses of grids up and running, and it's become more of a norm to have an avatar and to go into conversational immersive spaces. When that becomes more of a norm, then I think being in the forefront of it puts us in a strong position. So I'm not saying it isn't monetizable, but I haven't got a clue as yet what that would be. I do get, I actually, from an economic point of view, I'm fortunate in the sense that I actually turn down things. I mean, there are people who will come to me and pester me like mad to include posts that they're putting on the web in my Twitter stream. When I have absolutely no interest in them, and more to the point, I don't think they are worth putting in my feed. And of course, if I was thinking money, 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 I would probably sort of accept the odd tweets that was sponsored or something. So, which I don't think I'd ever do with the Twitter feed, but, maybe with, video aggregation, I can stick adverts in or something like that in the future. But at the moment, it's simply a labor of love building it all. And, it's, as I said, it's something I'm doing for myself as much as for the people that follow me.
I see. Now, Tessa, what do you think about these two people? I mean, they are pioneers, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And one, involves spreading the word, and the other involves spreading the talent, because without Adiri's skills and products, people have a much more difficult time expressing their skills, their talents, because it's very hard to find one person that can animate, script, do textures, build, and broadcast and PR and run a business and do customer service. I don't think that's a one person talent pool. It takes a lot of people to bring these things all together and to give something to tell a story by Mal. So it's definitely a community thing, and I think that's why I think it's so important to retain some of the skill sets and the tools we have, and why we've really used the OpenSim platform as our base, because it does give this ultimate freedom for even the most newbie to start creating and to collaborate either through the purchase of products or through actual teamwork to really produce something they never thought they could before. And that is the magic of this.
There's something that's sometimes neglected about platforms like Second Life and the tools available in it. I mean, for example, I've throughout my working life, I've worked in design and production, which and a bit of writing, but it's sort of I found that in Second Life, a knowledge of all the kind of things that I've done over time sort of almost congeal in a new environment. So you could. It's actually quite easy to grasp things in a 3D environment. I can't build in 3D to save my life, but I found certain talents from other fields all come together in one place because the virtual environment is sort of embodies all you can do really. And we don't have time enough to traverse all the grids or do everything we'd like to do, but there is a sense in which it's an open platform that unleashes anybody's creativity.
Yeah, but you'll try, Mal, won't you? You get around.
So, Adari, I mean, you're not going to stop, presumably, at one or two grids, I'm assuming, or one or two platforms.
At this point, I'm kind of interested in what Tessa's going to do with the Double Dutch delivery.
Do you want to explain what that is to our listeners?
Absolutely. Tessa, do you want to explain?
Sure.
Okay.
It's a system where it allows a retailer, the retailer as we call our creators who actually sell their materials or their products, to sell across grid lines in a more secure and IP proper manner. It allows me, the shopper, to walk up to the product. Let's say you have a shirt for sale. I could have an option of buying a single-use shirt that would be good on all the spot on 3D grids, or I could buy a multi-grid shirt for a higher price that would allow me to have that product automatically at the point of purchase delivered to multiple grids that creator sells to. So right now it's strictly spot on 3D and SL, and you shop